All right, so I'm here with Brandon with the Harrison County Sheriff's Office. Thanks for having us. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're about and what we're here to do today?
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. We just want to give you guys an introduction to our aviation unit and just give you a brief rundown of what we're all about, how we benefit our community.
All right, how do you read?
Gotcha.
All right, let's go flying. It's all glass.
Yeah, all glass. It looked very similar to your T-38 before. All right, so you're probably familiar with the Turbine Start. So N1, temperature, rotor and turbine speed, torque. So we'll wind it up to whatever it gets to peak on the probably 14 or 15% on the N1. Add fuel, keep it below 927. Should take about 25 seconds. You ready?
Ready.
So 27 seconds. All right, generator, come on. All touchscreen stuff, man. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, exactly like the T-38A.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the safety areas around taxiways, runways. VFR departures, advise ground control of type aircraft, destination and cruising altitude. Advise on initial contact, give echo. Overtime information, echo 1953 Zulu, wind 150 at 7, visibility 10. Sky clear, temperature T1, dew point 13, altimeter 3017. Visual approaching east, landing departing runways 14 to 18. Simultaneous approaches are being conducted. Notice airman, north 5 feet of taxi alpha closed. 100-foot crane on the pad and G apron. Personnel to come and work in the safety areas around taxiways, runways. VFR departures, advise ground control of type aircraft, destination and cruising altitude. Advise on initial contact, give echo.
So you can adjust this police radio volume to whatever you think it needs to be. I'll let you decide what's too loud or whatever.
Okay. And what I'm looking at here is this is the Flir Interface.
Yes. So it has a keyboard, pulls out, and then the mouse is this knob right here. And then you can click with that.
Nice.
So once it initializes, I'll get it cranked up.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so that's just our present position. You can search based on any sort of address, intersection, point of interest, anything really. All right, we're at 100%. I'll go ahead and call the tower, make sure I'm on the right radio. Gulfport Tower, good afternoon. Sheriff's Air 4.
Sheriff's Air 4, Gulfport Tower.
We're 900 ran with the Echo. We'd like a present position departure and join the coastline at 1000 and below. Eastbound.
Sheriff's Air 4, departure from the ramp, your own rescue. Caution, wind 150 at 9, resume on navigation.
Resume on navigation, Sheriff's Air 4. Okay, you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Well, this is different.
Yeah, indeed, isn't it? This is what I love about the helicopter, man. You can just do stuff that's out of the ordinary.
I don't usually fly with the doors off.
Or take off from a ramp.
It's frowned upon. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, so you're right there. I mean, we're already at the coast.
Yep. So we'll tell you what we'll do. We'll amend this plan. We'll just take a trip around the port and then get that way.
Oh, yeah. Do you work port missions too?
No, we usually just, when we're out and about, we'll take some photos for them. They're always doing a lot of improvements and things out there, and just being a good neighbor, we'll just keep them updated on how it looks. Tower, Sheriff's Air 4. We'd like to amend that departure, go westbound to the port and then back eastbound.
Sheriff's Air 4 sounds good. Keep me by.
We'll advise back to eastbound.
You know, what's amazing is how smooth this is.
Oh, this thing flies.
It's just like a Cadillac, man. I thought I was going to be vibrated to death.
No, we are, this thing flies like a
living.
dream. It does.
And we're protective egg has it downwind traffic.
And you're not, I mean, I'm watching your control inputs. There's not a lot of
Yeah, so
fight.
it has hydraulic controls, unlike the OH6. You can almost just think about which way you want to move, like literally just think about which way you want to bank. Like you can't even tell that I've put any input into this.
Is there any autopilot?
No autopilot.
Wow.
But the 6 is manual controls. So you almost strap it on and you have all the feedback and all the feel, but you have to put a little more force in the controls.
Yeah.
Moment.
So tell me about the typical mission.
Our majority of our missions are centered around events here on the Gulf Coast. So of those events, we have huge Mardi Gras events. So we have several parades that we do for Mardi Gras. Then we have a really large spring break event in Biloxi that takes over the coast for a couple days. So we do a lot of flying for that. That usually comes with the typical rowdy spring break crowd. So we have a lot of hot calls that sometimes come out of that.
So, well, for the people at home, when you take a hot call or when you're doing these events, what are you actually doing in this helicopter?
Yeah, so we're given aerial support and observation for the units on the ground, either by tracking a wanted person or a vehicle, giving updates on traffic congestion and bottleneck areas that could be a problem. During a lot of these events that we have, we will just go ahead and be patrolling in the area, and we'll give overhead backup to just a regular traffic stop. I think that's where we're found to be most beneficial during these events, is just backing up those ground units and giving the commanders a heads up about what's going on. We can broadcast that video and audio stream right back to the ground units.
How does the technology help you? How does the Flir and stuff? I mean, it's obviously more technology now than when you started.
Tremendous. I mean, I could have never fathomed when I first started, even just 16 years ago, having the tools and technology that we have at our fingertips now, just from being able to run wanted persons checks and NCIC information from the car. All our deputies have that. Body cameras, mobile video cameras. This technology in the helicopter is cutting edge. The overlay and the mapping system that goes along with that is unbelievable. We just could have never imagined that being a possibility that when I first started, but now we've got that stuff right here in Harrison County. Sheriff, Air 1 back eastbound.
Roger, how far eastbound you planning?
We're going to go to Point Cadet, we'll say, and come on back this way.
Sounds good, thanks.
So your story, you had no aviation background. You didn't. You're a make them tell you no story.
Yeah. So I came to work here. Part of the reason I came to work here was because we had helicopters, and I just had a passion for helicopters since I was a kid. Wasn't able to afford to go to training myself and pay my way through that training. It was very expensive back then, but it's really expensive now. So I went to college, got my degree.
User tower 120.75.
2075 Air 4.
429.
Keysville Tower, Sheriff's Air 4 eastbound at 500.
Sheriff Air 4, Keysville Tower, transmission approved, Keysville Tower 3017.
3017 Air 4. So I had a passion as a kid for aviation. Wasn't able to pay to send myself through. I went to school, got my degree in criminal justice, and did my next most passionate thing would be law enforcement. I've always dreamed of doing that, so that's what I did. Came to work here partly because we had an aviation unit, had helicopters, and at least wanted to give myself a shot to be a part of that. So out of the blue, I found out who the chief pilot was here. I didn't know him, never met him, and called our dispatch. Didn't have his number. Called our dispatch, got his number, and just introduced myself and said, "Hey, this is a dream of mine. Anything I can do to be a part of the aviation unit, let me know. Call me anytime. I'll come sweep the hangars." Right. So just over time and being consistent and committed to being a part of it, and nagging our chief pilot Steve to death about it, and our administration, and a couple times of getting ran out of the sheriff's office and my major's office and saying don't mention helicopter again. I hadn't given up on it, but I kind of had put it on the back burner as far as being a pilot. I knew I could fly with the pilots as a TFO on a mission, but
what's a TFO for the kids at home?
Acronym for Tactical Flight Officer. So it's a deputy that controls the cameras and the equipment on board, talks to the units on the ground.
So he sits where I'm sitting.
Yeah, exactly. And pretty much coordinates the flight on any mission. I'm just the driver, the pilot. The TFO has the most fun. He gets to catch the bad guys and call them out and do all the heavy lifting. I still enjoy sitting in that left seat. Any chance I get, that's where I would now prefer to be, because it's more of a challenge than flying stick and rudder. So
when you do this, you're coordinating not only with you, the pilot, are the pilot, but you're coordinating with the units on the ground.
And dispatch, yeah. Yeah, the units on the ground, dispatch, and with the pilot. So where the TFO says to go and at what altitude and at speed and standoff, all that is coordinated through training and experience that they're able to communicate that stuff to get the best picture and best image that they can and best information back to the ground units.
And it's something that any road deputy can do, right? It's not, you don't have to be specially qualified. You'll train the TFO.
That's correct. At our agency, we're large enough to have this sort of opportunity and offer it, but we're small enough that it's available to anyone. It's anybody that has a passion or commitment to flying or aviation, law enforcement can do this. We put these TFO positions out for training every so often to any certified law enforcement officer that works here at the department. So it's not out of reach.
But it's just an additional duty, right? They still get to work the road and do that stuff.
That's correct. We're just a part-time aviation unit as needed, and we just bring on TFOs from the road who still do road work, and as an additional duty, they come and fly with us and are trained and gather that experience. And the possibility to become a pilot is then exponentially higher if they're committed and stay with it, because we're going to always be needing pilots. You know?
So you would send a TFO with no flight experience through training, just like yourself.
Sure.
Your dream is possible for somebody else too.
Absolutely. That's how I ended up here. Sure. Grab this hand controller right here between us. It just clips out. Nope, right here. Yeah, it clips out of there. And roll this switch on.
Sheriff Fairfield, will you be pushing 5 following?
Yeah, we'd like to stay with you.
Sheriff Fairfield, roger.
All right, so now the camera, you can see the symbology is pointed straight out and straight forward.
And this controls it through...
Yeah, so the little switch here, it's kind of a thing, but let me get it out of position mode. All right, now you can control it through rate mode and
What?
And see now here you can see where
I can get my
the camera is looking.
Yeah,
exactly
so I can give them street position.
Yeah, and then you can zoom down far enough into the map if you're over a scene or place that you're focusing on, it'll give you the house numbers and addresses and things.
Wow. That's incredible. That's great technology. So you could be supporting, like if somebody ran, you could tell the deputy, hey, he's at 5th and Main.
Yeah.
Go get him.
Yeah, sure. Or if he's just fled the scene and we don't really have eyes on him, we can give units immediately what nearby streets are there to get a perimeter set up to try to contain them as quickly as possible.
Track this boat over here. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, this looks like a lot like the pods I used, in the F-18, F-16. Very similar technology. It's easy to use, look, I'm doing this.
Yeah, one-handed, sure. And
Sheriff Fairfield, staying tension.
all right, we're headed eastbound another couple of miles, Deer Island, and circling back westbound.
Sheriff Fairfield, roger.
So it knows I'm looking at this sandbar.
Yep.
Is it using GPS?
It is. It has an inertial, it's an IMU is what it's called, inertial measurement unit. So it does a whole lot of triangulation and It's got a G sensor in it and turn bank sensor, AHRs, or whatever you want to call those. And it triangulates where the symbology of the camera is showing to a known point in space.
And when people ask, how was all this paid for?
Yeah, so I think that's the most incredible thing is the aircraft itself came from the military surplus program, which was a very minimal cost back in the 90s that the Sheriff's Department here picked these aircrafts up. This panel upgrade and all the modifications that's been done to it has been paid for by drug forfeiture funds. So no taxpayer dollars has gone into to funding this improvement.
Wow, so it pays for itself.
Yes, it's thanks to the local and interstate drug dealers, we're able to have this stuff.
Thanks for your service.
43, back 10-8, code 21.
How'd they get out? Were they with a boat? I didn't see a boat.
No, actually, there's there's a little dock there on the other side. I'll show you on the way back, but they can just canoe or kayak across, and usually they'll walk on this side.
Nice. So what do you think, I mean, if you had to pick one of the top benefits of having an air unit for your department, what do you think the biggest benefit to the taxpayer this gives?
So it's very unique, and the best value that I can describe is it's a tool that not every agency has, and it's a tool that is invaluable when it comes to spatial and logistical organization for ground units.
Situational awareness, yeah.
Situational awareness and just general efficiency during events and major incidents.
But even minor stuff, you know, I mean, if patrol, right? If patrol calls you out, you can get out there and go help them out.
Sure, anytime. Occasionally we get those calls to help out on manhunts or surveillance or reconnaissance sort of deals, and those are things that we could otherwise not have those tools if we didn't have these aircraft.
So what's your advice? Let's say I'm young and I'm thinking about law enforcement, but I also like aviation. What would your advice be?
Well, if flying helicopters and law enforcement aviation is your passion, find an agency that has these opportunities and stick with them. Be committed to the agency and their mission and their vision. Be passionate and open about what your dream is, and let it be known and pursue that. And as you always say, make them tell you no.
Loyalty helps, right?
Yeah, well, that's step number one, and I think that's what kind of got me in the door. Is I was committed to the department whether or not I got to fly, be a pilot or not. I love this community, I love this area, and I love this agency. So regardless of how this would have turned out for me, I would have still stayed here. And I think that you have to kind of prove that to your administration, and once they realize that you're committed to the agency and the mission, then that opens up a lot of other doors.
That's awesome. So you're a pilot, but we talked about you do other stuff. What is your day job when you're not flying the helicopter?
Yeah, so my full-time job is working criminal interdiction on I-10. We're just a special operations sort of unit that there's 4 of us that work on I-10 through Harrison County doing interstate interdiction, and that's what I do day to day, part-time pilot.
Out to our house, and he's going to signal 48 her. She advised that she does have a 46, and she will defend herself in any means. She advised she does not know what kind of vehicle he is in, just depends on what he can get his hands on. He's mad because her daughter won't take the job.
Yeah, so you hear that coming out.
She said.
Typical DV. What do you think? You think a DV is the most dangerous call as a police officer you can go to?
In her words, is she is going to signal 48.
These days, yes. I would say so. Traffic stops probably right up there. But as far as a street cop goes, that's probably the most volatile situation you can put yourself in.
So you're a lieutenant. You've been doing this for 15 years. What do you think? I mean, as far as just taking the aviation side out of it, what do you think for young guys coming into this profession? What do you tell them?
I mean, if it's a passion that you have and something that you really want to do, just be, tighten up your bootstraps and be committed to it, and don't get discouraged. I think a lot of guys get discouraged about the routine and not really thinking they make a difference in their community, but it's every day is an opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. If that's the way you look at it, I think you can get through a career better than just trying to force your way into making a difference in your community. So every day we have those little small opportunities to make a difference in somebody's life, hopefully for the good, and try to make the most of those positive interactions.
One day at a time.
That's it. That's the way I made it. Looking back 16 years, it's flown by. But looking forward, when I was 3 to 5 years in, saying, man, if I could ever just make it to 16, I think I could retire. So looking forward, it doesn't ever seem like you're going to get there, but looking back, it's been a blink of an eye.
It's really hard to believe this helicopter is, what year was it?
This helicopter is a 1971 model.
Older than both of us.
That is true.
But I mean, that's the thing I wanted to point out is these aircraft are well maintained. They are, obviously upgraded using the funds we talked about before from the drug interdiction and stuff. And they're an asset to the community.
Sure. I mean, these two helicopters that we have paid for themselves over and over again as far as bang for the buck for the taxpayers here in Harrison County. We keep them in hangars so we don't have a lot of cosmetic and corrosion maintenance to do. So,
Sheriff 4, contact GoPro Tower 123.7.
23.7, thanks, good day. GoPro Tower, Sheriff 4 back with you, coastline 600.
Sheriff 4, GoPro Tower 11609, say intentions.
Westbound coastline.
Sheriff 4, thank you, the GoPro altimeter is 3016.
3016, Air 4.
I do have a question. It was kind of off of what you said. Do you think the taxpayers know about this?
I don't think there's many that do. They may know that we have helicopters, but I don't think they see a lot of the value that this provides. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's just a perception that I have, and I hope partly through this and our sheriff's support of this aviation unit that we've been able to show more of the citizens of Harrison County how valuable and important it is.
At 10.
Now, as far as operating costs, most of yours are defrayed because you use government to help work on the aircraft. Is that?
You're talking about our mechanics?
Yeah, the mechanic.
Okay, so yeah, we have at the airport here is a very, I guess probably the only National Guard, Army Guard maintenance center here at our airport. So we have a plethora of mechanics that are willing to work and volunteer and on the side to help us maintain these aircraft, and that's what we do most of the time.
Well, this is awesome, man. We appreciate you having us out.
My pleasure.
Us being these people.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Any reason I can conjure up to go fly, I'll take advantage of it.
But just to clarify, this was approved.
Yes, indeed.
So you've got your own display too.
Yeah, so I can see the raw camera footage from the Flir camera on my console, just to give me a better idea of what he's seeing. If I'm getting a skid in the picture, I can react to that and kind of set that standoff and altitude to the best possible way. I mean, that's really handy because I don't have to keep looking over to the other screen. I can remain focused on my PFD, which is the primary flight display here on the left.
Do you get? Is there a way you can get the moving map on your side?
No, it's just the raw video footage input from the camera.
Gotcha. It's awesome.
To me, I've got the best job at that you could have in law enforcement, being in interdiction, which I just absolutely love, and then aviation on top of that. So that's just the cherry on top.
Now, is this a type rating for this helicopter?
Nope, it's just a rotorcraft helicopter, standard license.
Do you get to fly enough to feel proficient?
Oh yeah. I mean, if at a minimum we do 4 hours a month of just proficiency training, which is, if you break that down, it's just an hour a week, but I feel like I'm definitely proficient based on that. I feel like we're safe. I don't see why we wouldn't be with that.
Yeah, and obviously it probably throttles up during the busy season with all the festivals and stuff.
Yeah, so this time of year is when we do start to do more of our flying in springtime. So. Tower Sheriff's Air Force back eastbound, like direct to the ramp.
Sheriff's Air 4 landing at the ramp, set your own risk. Caution, wind 170 at 7, altimeter 3016.
3016, direct to the ramp, airport.
He is in no hurry to get back. Can't say that I blame him.
First time as a new pilot coming in to do this is a little hairy because they start doing that kind of thing.
It's hairy as a passenger.
But you get used to it.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for having us. This was an awesome ride, and I hope it gets the word out that how awesome this program is.
Man, I enjoyed it. It's my pleasure.
I really enjoyed it too. Thanks so much.
So here are all of our avionics and electronics and all that stuff in the back.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the system that runs the camera, the gimbal, and the Flir itself. This is the mapping and computer system. This is the downlink and then the transponder.
Jeez.
And this is the antenna for the downlink whenever you broadcast back.